As you can see in the title, I'm back. Yeah. So today, what we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be doing March Madness, right? And if you guys haven't filled out a bracket, use this as a guide. I encourage you to do this. I know a lot about March Madness, and let's get into it. So you won't be seeing my face because I am going to be filling out a bracket, but yeah, so let's go. So first matchup. Well, actually, I think we should do the first four, but I'm not really sure how we do those. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. I'll get back to that. So we got Virginia versus UMBC. I like UMBC, but as we all know, a 16 seed has never lost or has never won against a 1 seed. So always, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick all 1 seeds because we know they most likely will not lose. So that's my first tip. Don't ever pick a 16 seed if you're serious about this. So next we have Creighton versus Kansas State. So the 8-9 games are actually really difficult in my opinion because they're supposedly equal teams. So, and this doesn't really count as an upset if you pick a 9 seed over an 8 seed, but it could, I guess, because one's a higher seed, but I'm not going to count that as an upset. And my next tip is that in the past few years, there's been an average about like 12 and a half upsets. So an upset qualifies as like the winning team is 2 seeds higher than the losing team. So like a 10 seed beating an 8 seed would be considered an upset. Or like a 5 beating a 1. That would be an upset. So that's my next tip. So next we have Creighton versus Kansas State. So I did some research on this and I figured out that Creighton is a good team. So I'm picking Creighton. Those 8-9 games won't necessarily be that big because most 8 or 9 seeds won't get past the 1 seeds that they play. But you never know, they could. That's happened before. Kentucky versus Davidson. So Davidson, they trying to remember. I think they won their they won their I forget what you call conference tournament. They won that. I'm not really sure what conference they're in, but they won it. And Kentucky, they beat Tennessee, who was ranked at the time. They beat Tennessee, who's right here. They beat Tennessee for the championship of the SEC. So I'm picking Kentucky because I liked how they played against Tennessee. Next, we have Arizona versus Buffalo. So Arizona's been sort of on the hot seat, I guess you could say, because they've had a few scandals, I guess you could say, but they still have a good basketball team. So I'm still going to go with Arizona. All right, so Miami versus Loyola Chicago. No one's ever heard of Loyola Chicago. I know how I haven't, but I did some research on them, and they're a very good team. So I have them upsetting Miami. That's right, Miami. I haven't beaten them. Then we have Tennessee versus Wright State. Tennessee's going to win, even though they did lose to Kentucky, but that matchup might happen later. Next, we have Nevada versus Texas. Like I said before, this would be considered an upset, but I'm not necessarily going to say it's a big upset if a 10 beats a 7. And I am going to pick that upset. I did quotation marks in case you can't see it, but I did quotation marks. Then we have Cincinnati versus Georgia State. A 15 has upset a 2 before, but it's not that likely. Like a few years ago, FGCU upset Georgetown. But I don't really believe any 15 seeds going to upset their opponent this year. But if they did, I believe it would be this Georgia State-Cincinnati game. But I'm still going with Cincinnati because it's a safe bet. So now we're going to move down here. So we already have Xavier beating whoever these teams are right there. Next, Missouri, Florida State. Like I said, 8-9 games are hard to pick. It's pretty much just a guess. But I'm going to go with Mizzou. I think that's what they're called. Ohio State. I like Ohio State. Not like really as a school, but like their basketball team. Gonzaga, they have possibilities in my opinion. They could make it far if they wanted to, and I'm pretty sure they want to. Houston over San Diego State pretty easily. Michigan over Montana. Providence, UNC. So as you can see, there was only one upset that you could consider an upset, which is the Providence over Texas A&M. And that's some conferences do happen to not have any upsets. And that's what makes March Madness so difficult, which is that some brackets or some divisions will have upsets like the 11 over the 6. And it's difficult because you never know. That's why no one ever gets a perfect bracket, because just because it's so hard to pick upsets. And I'm trying to help you get that perfect bracket to win all this money that people are offering you if you get a perfect bracket. So now we're going to the Villanova one. And I've been seeing these updates and stuff that say like, oh, March Madness, oh, Villanova, easy Final Four appearance right here. And I agree with that. I have Villanova going all the way to the national championship game. But these other teams, like Marshall, I have Marshall beating Wichita State. You might say, you're crazy. No one's heard of Marshall. I have. They're a good basketball team. West Virginia over Murray State. Pretty self-explanatory. A 12 seed over a 5 seed. It's possible, but I don't think West Virginia will be the 5 seed to go down. I have Alabama beating Virginia Tech just because I saw their game. I forget who it was against, but they were upset. But they are still a good team, and I believe they'll beat Virginia Tech. So now you have Florida. Yeah, Florida. And see, SF Austin, I think they have this really tall guy, which makes them a difficult team to beat. But I'm going to skip that one until we come back to that later. Arkansas or Butler, Arkansas, I'm going to choose because I also saw their game. They might have played Alabama. I don't know. But, yeah. And then Purdue's going to win that. Easy as that. Seton Hall versus NC State. NC State. I'm going to pick NC State. No reason there. That's the hard thing about 9 and 8 games, because it's so hard to tell who's going to win and who's not going to win, especially in those games when they're so evenly matched. So Clemson, they're normally known for their college football, but they've shown up this basketball season. I'm not sure what it is that got them to be such a good basketball team, but they could go far. They could beat Kansas. I think I'm going to have them beating Kansas. They could go far. Auburn, just because I don't think Charleston is that good and that they can win. TCU, I don't like that these teams like the Syracuse and Arizona State. I don't like that they have to play 2 games to get to the round of 64, which or play 1 game to get to the round of 64 and another game to get to the round of 32. So that's why I always have, that's why I always have them losing in those sort of games. And I'm going to have Michigan State. Oklahoma, because I like the way Trae Young plays, even though they went on a little losing streak there. And Rhode Island did just lose their game for the championship on Sunday. So Duke versus Iona. Dun, 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 dun. Boom. Iona beats Duke. Yeah. I think that happened a few years ago. I think Iona actually beat Duke. It seems crazy. You're probably thinking, Dopealope, what are you thinking? Iona's never going to beat Duke and Mike something. But they are. Iona's going to beat Duke. You can quote me on that. Iona's going to beat Duke. Yeah. And that puts us to the end of our round of 64. This round of 64 is Dopealope segment, sponsored by Sugar Free Kids Maryland, making the healthy choice the easy choice. So next we have Virginia Creighton. See, now, the thing about March Madness is that all these games get closer and closer, from like a 1 to 16 and a 1 to 8. Makes the final games much, much harder when it's like a 1 versus a 1 or something. But Virginia, as their number 1 overall, like out of the whole bracket, I say they advance just because of that. And this is a tough one. 4 and 5 is just like 8 and 9 right here. They're very evenly matched. But I'm going to have to go with Kentucky because I just like the way they played against Tennessee right there. And that's right. You saw it here first. Loyola Chicago goes all the way to the Sweet 16. Yeah, that's right, people. And Cincinnati over Texas, because I trust that Cincinnati can get pretty far in this tournament, at least to the Elite Eight. Xavier, just because it's hard for me to imagine a 1 seed who's worked so hard to get there lose in the round of 32, just like that. So now we got Ohio State versus Gonzaga. It's a really hard choice for me because, like I said earlier, I like the way Ohio State plays basketball, but Gonzaga is always a good team. They made it to the national championship last game, lost to North Carolina. I'm going to have to go with Gonzaga. And I didn't press Xavier there. Houston, Michigan. I say Houston upsets Michigan right here. Just because you got to pick some of the upsets. And I did some research on Houston also. And I just think Houston is a good team right here. UNC, easily. I love UNC. It got me to, their winning got me to win my bracket last year. So next we have Villanova, Alabama, Nova, Marshall, West Virginia. Marshall, you had a good run, but West Virginia will beat you there. So now we got the Texas Tech SF Austin thing, which still don't know what to make. Why don't we just take a guess? Because part of March Madness is just taking a guess. I'll say Texas Tech wins this because, I mean, it's hard to tell. And then I have Florida beating Texas Tech and Purdue beating Arkansas. So now we have 12 of our 16 Sweet 16 teams, and we have our final few things over here. Kansas, I think, will win. Clemson, like I said earlier, they have the chance to go pretty far in the tournament. TCU and Oklahoma. Just because Oklahoma will beat Iona. Even though Iona beat Duke, I can't see a 15 seed making it to the Sweet 16. And yeah, that's like hard to imagine a 6 and a 10. Almost as hard to imagine as a 10 and a 15 right here, but we'll see. This Dopealope segment of round of 32 is sponsored by the Sports and Stuff app. Visit us today at www.sportsandstuff.org. Coming soon. The website is coming soon, and the app will also be coming soon. By the way, this is my app that I am creating with some help by my buddy DJ. Thanks, DJ. And I also made the website to write news because the app's only going to have scores, at least for college basketball, for a little while until it updates some. So most of the information will be on the website, my articles and stuff. So if you want more tips and stuff, the website will be working in a few days. So please go on there and read some of the articles that'll be up. And yeah, let's get back into it. Virginia versus Kentucky. Kentucky has the potential to beat Virginia. I want to make a bold statement. Kentucky beats Virginia. Yeah. Cincinnati beats Loyola Chicago. They had a good run. They made it to Sweet 16 as an 11 seed. That's difficult to do. Xavier beats Gonzaga, and UNC beats Houston. I hate to have a 1 and a 2, but sometimes it just happens. Villanova wins. Like I said, they have an easy way to the Final Four, and Purdue will also win. Again with the 1 and the 2s, but there's nothing you can do if that's the way it happens. Kansas, Clemson. Clemson, like I said, I have big hopes for Clemson. Big hopes. And they can do it. As I said, they're going to beat Kansas. Mark my words right there. And Oklahoma makes it to the Elite Eight. Yeah. I just love the way Trae Young plays. That's all it is. That's all there is to it. Now we're back. No more ads, by the way. No more ads. So Cincinnati versus Kentucky. Kentucky, they knocked off the 1 seed but couldn't take down the 2 seed. Sorry about that, Cincinnati. Or sorry about that, Kentucky, but you're going home. Cincinnati makes it to the Final Four. UNC Xavier. Sorry, Xavier, you're going home too. UNC, I just love them. Love them to death. Go UNC. Villanova, like I said, easy path to the Final Four. There's not that many good teams in their division. Clemson, Oklahoma. Now, I'm just going to pick Clemson because it's hard for me to imagine a 10 seed in the Final Four. Although it's probably happened, I can't imagine it. And then we're into our Final Four, UNC, Villanova, right? Just like that matchup. Just like that matchup. I want to see it again. I want to see. Oh, I don't know who to pick. Oh my gosh. Oh. I probably should have thought about who I wanted to win before I made this video, but I don't know, man. Oh man, I don't know. What the heck? What should I do, guys? What should I do? See, UNC won last year. Villanova won the year before. Villanova beat UNC last year, or 2 years ago. I'm going Villanova because UNC's had easy, or UNC lost to Virginia, and they beat Duke, which is, we saw what happened to Duke right here, didn't we? Yeah, and then my tiebreaker is gonna be 78 to 73, right? Why don't I just make it 73 to 78 because I don't know if it's on this. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and submit these picks later. And I'm also going to be making a tournament. The link should be in the description a little later tonight, and it's going to be on the March Madness app. So get that on your phones, and yeah, we're back. So thank you guys for watching. It's been a while. I'll be back. I'm back, baby. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tips and tricks, and we'll see you in the next video. Later, Dopealopers.